Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the debut grand opening of Mad Villain Bistro Bed and Breakfast Bar Grill.
I've been a huge Dragon Ball Z fan of the video games. I love Raging Blast 2, that's one of my favorite games, but they've had a really hard time of finding a niche genre, of having an idea for what they want to do with some of the games that they want to make, and having that genre of game that really fits with the Dragon Ball Z universe. And nothing fits better, I think, than the action RPG genre. Listen, having that ability to say, well, hey, Goku's gonna fight bosses like Frieza and Raditz, but it's also going to be kind of like a stage boss, very reminiscent of the TV show where Goku doesn't necessarily fight Frieza at one time. God knows how long their actual fight is. It's like 10 plus episodes, and it always changes. Frieza's form changes constantly throughout the entirety of the show, and Goku's in and out of the fights. He's fighting the Ginyu. Goku is a fighter. He fights a lot, okay? So when you have some of these bosses being able to change their dynamics, changing some of their fight plans, and now Goku now has to adjust, it's very reminiscent of the TV show. Some of the more prevalent games that have been released in the past couple of years, like Dragon Ball Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, they didn't necessarily tackle that well. There are some aspects that they tried to introduce, but it wasn't necessarily executed upon that well. Then you also had Dragon Ball FighterZ, which was made by Arc Systems Works, one of the best developers of 2D combat. They were like, we're just not even gonna have a 3D combat system. We're not gonna have a traditional Dragon Ball Z fighting system. What we're going to do is we're gonna throw everything out, we're gonna treat it like it was garbage, and we're just gonna do what we do best, and that's 2D fighters. And that's what they did in Dragon Ball FighterZ, one of the best 2D fighting games to be released in the past couple of years, because Arc Systems Works, of course, is a great developer that knows what they're doing, but also it's one of the best Dragon Ball Z games created in the past couple of years as well. So now you have all of these games coming out that are either A, sticking to the formula of the genre, right, of the genre that Dragon Ball is in, or the worst part is that they go away completely from the genre and they do their own thing, and it's successful. And yeah, I love Fighter Z, but it's not my cup of tea, right? It's not the game that I want. So let me tell you the parts of the game that I want in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. The parts of the game that I like in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You know what I find really interesting about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? I find actually a lot of things interesting, okay? For starters, this actually kind of looks like a really fun Dragon Ball Z game to play. One of my favorite things about Dragon Ball Z is the flying. I love it when the characters are blitzing around the planet, where they're flying, where they power up and they go fast. One of my favorite scenes from the universe from Dragon Ball Z was when Gohan is teaching Videl and Goten how to fly, and he's talking about energy, and I'm like, oh, that sounds so simple and so pragmatic, and it makes a lot of sense. And you see this in the game, and you see Goku riding his flying Nimbus, you see him flying around the open sandbox, and it just works so well. And as a Dragon Ball Z fan myself, I have all of the Dragon Ball Z series on DVD right now. I have it all on DVD. One of my favorite things seeing in this game is how great the flying is. It's a little bit boring in some circumstances. It's a little bit weird. I don't get some stuff on why they added. Like, for instance, why can't you go at full speed forever? Why do you have to have a mana bar that manages your flying? That doesn't make any sense to me. But the flying, to me, when it works well. When it doesn't work, it's a little bit bland. It's a little bit like, why would you do some stuff? But then on top of that, you got the combat. The combat's really fun. Going back to the Dragon Ball Z universe and the TV show, you got Goku being pretty destructive, right? You got some of the fights destroying planets, not just because of Goku, but because of Vegeta, Krillin, Gohan, Cell, Frieza, Majin Buu, right? These are hardcore villains that can blow up planets with the flick of their finger. So it needs to be demonstrated in the fights. Obviously, you got Goku's Kamehameha wave, you got Raditz, you got probably Vegeta's Gallic gun. And then there's also some Frieza and some trailers here and there. But my favorite thing overall is the boss battle fighting. It changes from, just pretty much just punching and mashing square or the attack button to now, all right, now you gotta be a little bit agile. Right, now you gotta move and groove. Now you gotta stick and move. You gotta hit Raditz, you gotta dodge his energy blast. You gotta dodge. You gotta just stand in the pocket and try and maneuver past his abilities and attacks, and it turns from just a straight up Dragon Ball Z fight that you would see in traditional Dragon Ball games to now, alright, the fight's on. Now we got a boss battle that is seen in a lot of RPGs, and I absolutely loved it. I loved how it went from, alright, we're going to do something traditional to doing something a little bit untraditional. And you see Goku looking damn good. He now has the ability to be really, really agile. And now Dragon Ball Z Kakarot finally put something in. They said, well, hold on a minute, we'll let Goku fly around the map. We'll let him try and attack Raditz. We'll let him go after enemies whenever he wants to. We're not just gonna let him be subtle. We're not gonna let him just be a little bit bland. He's gonna be able to rush at Raditz at full speed, at full dynamic power that he's seen in the TV show. And I'm so excited to see when he's able to transform into a Super Saiyan, when he's able to go full blonde yellow on Frieza's ass, on Namek. Because that's what Dragon Ball Z is all about. It's about powering up to a power level of over 9,000 and just whooping ass. And they've done that pretty well in this game. For the past 10 years as a Dragon Ball Z fan, it's been pretty tumultuous. It has been a really, really bad relationship for me. I haven't had a lot of games that I can go to and play and be excited for at the very least. There's not a lot of excitement in the Dragon Ball Z universe. But I think this is going to be a start. I think this is going to be a game where we can all look back and say either the Dragon Ball Z game universe either used this as a trampoline or didn't use anything that they learned from Kakarot to go into another game. They kind of just stayed where they were. Because I think this game, it has some really, really interesting mechanics to it. I think it has some really, really good moments, or it can, at the very least, have some really, really good moments. But I already see that there's some issues that are going to turn people away from the game. If you aren't a Dragon Ball Z fan, if you are a Dragon Ball Z fan, if you do love the series as much as I do, if you have almost the entire collection of Dragon Ball Z on DVD, if you've watched the series multiple times, I think this is going to be a game that you'll thoroughly enjoy for years to come. But if you aren't, it's probably going to be average.